Is it live or is it Memorex? Yes, it is live. We are live. You guys remember that commercial? Memorex, is it live or is it Memorex? They must be dead because I haven't heard that commercial in over 20 years. So they must definitely are dead. I see Jennifer is back, our animation queen. We haven't seen her in a long time. Happy to see Katia's back. Great to be back on 3 Martini Lunch, which is a virtual networking event that's broadcast nationally. But our panelists are right here in the room with you, and they have brilliant things to say. I see some new people. Dylan Linsky. I don't think we've met Dylan, but are you related to Mark and David?
Yeah, David's my brother and Mark's my dad.
Okay, great. So you've joined the family business?
That's right.
Great. So I'm going to let you go a little bit later once you get into the groove and see what we do in this. And welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You guys all know David and Mark, so this is Dylan, the 3 Musketeers.
That's right.
3 Linskys. And so the 3 Martini Lunch is based on the Success is Contagious model of Rockstar Connect, in which we have a great little session where we discuss our successes with one another first, and then in the second hour, we answer the question of the week. And the question of the week is usually, I hope, quite thought-provoking and thoughtful, and you really get to understand the people that are doing business on the call. So I have been told, and I have seen, and I have experienced it myself, that a lot of business is passed during this event. In addition to that, a lot of meaningful connections have been made here locally in North Carolina, but also nationally from our national panelists. So I'm real excited about that, and we feel proud that we're able to work with you to contribute to the greater economy. We every day are working to make this into a better program. We will have more announcements over the next few weeks on how we're going to continue to do virtual even after the entire world opens up and we start going back face to face. We had a great face-to-face networking event here last week in Raleigh, North Carolina, with Mark Roberts at the downtown Rockstar Connect group, and they had about 40 people there, and I was very impressed because, albeit we were there and explaining to people that they should keep their social distance and that they should wear a mask and all of these other things, they took it a little bit further even. I mean, every person had their mask on. I took a lot of random photos and people had their masks on. And if they had a cocktail, they were literally taking their mask, going like this for a second, taking a sip and putting their mask back up. So that was pretty impressive. And we have a bunch of events coming up live next week. Domenic is hosting an event in RTP, and Andrew Pierce is hosting one in Wilmington. And I believe it's Clayton next week or Briar Creek. Briar Creek is next week. So pretty heavy in North Carolina events. We've had a few successful Florida events in the last few weeks. So that's the successes for Rockstar Connect. Expect to see a lot of events happening here in North Carolina, and you will see not only our hosts at those events, but you'll see Sarah and myself at a lot of those events, as well as our panelists too. So we're excited about that. Let's start off with Domenic, because we usually go to you sort of near the end. Domenic, what success have you had this week, and how is it sort of impacting you, this great success?
Well, the success I've had I've had a number of them, but I would say the biggest one is having a nice extended vacation. The family and I took a trip to the beach, and last week it was perfect weather. Not so much this weekend, got much colder, but I mean, with you got to take the silver linings where they come, and with COVID and the pandemic and shutdown, schools all being virtual, work all being work from home, you can work and go to school from anywhere. So we went to the ocean and spent a week down there, and It was fantastic. So I feel refreshed, ready to get back to work. Got out of the house for a while, got to be one with my natural habitat, the ocean, because I grew up at the beach, and you know, I feel rejuvenated and ready to get back to work.
You know, it must have been a really good vacation and very relaxing, especially since it sounds like you took a little bit of work with you, because otherwise you'd be talking about going on vacation like today.
I did not take all that much work with me. I took my fishing poles, and that's mostly what I spend doing is catching dinner.
And you grew up on the beach. What beach did you grow up in?
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach. Okay, yeah. I love Virginia Beach.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
There's an incredible Jewish deli up in Virginia Beach.
There used to be a little like restaurant club down on the ocean front called the Jewish Mother too. That was interesting.
Oh yeah, I heard that's like a famous place, right?
Well, I'm not sure if it's still there. When I still lived there, they got raided by the IRS and ceased to exist.
Damn IRS closing down all our best businesses.
Well, I mean that's what happens when you don't pay payroll taxes for 2 decades.
Probably more.
Yeah.
I think the one I'm talking about is called Route 66 down in Virginia Beach.
Not familiar, but I'm sure it's delicious.
Rockstar Connect pre-COVID, we had a great event in Virginia Beach. We hope to get that up and running again soon. Let's go out to California. Over to Ray. How you feeling today, Ray?
Awesome and invincible. Thanks for asking. Very glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
How does feeling invincible feel? Sarah would like to know.
So awesome and invincible. Awesome means to inspire others. And invincible is if God is on your side, who can stand against you? So
100%. I had the pleasure of spending almost a week with your daughter.
Oh yeah. She thank you very much. She loves the house. She, went back and forth with me, and I kept saying, I don't know, talk to Steven. I don't know what the rules are out there.
Yeah,
but yeah, she loves you.
Have any rules out here, which is what makes it really easy to buy real estate in North Carolina. We just signed on a napkin, and we're good to go. We're very
that works
with her today, and her excitement level is still very high, and she really would like you to move to North Carolina as well.
Yeah.
And we can make that happen.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see what happens in the future.
Correct.
I love the idea that Domenic was in Virginia Beach. I grew up in Newport News, just, 30, 45 minutes from there.
Yep, not too far away.
What a great beach.
Yep, it's beautiful. You guys got the James River, Chesapeake Bay, and the largest shipbuilding industry in the entire world.
Yeah. The James River was always exciting because you never know when you were going to get a red tide, which is algae, and you just stay out of the water.
Yeah.
And it smells. But
has the newly restored Cavalier Hotel, which Sher and I had the pleasure of staying at last, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, the Cavalier's a historic landmark.
We stayed in the room that Adolf Busch, Anheuser-Busch's son, jumped out the window or was pushed out of the window during Prohibition. So it is a little bit of a haunted hotel, and that was pretty cool history as well. So Ray, what has been your success since you were last on 3 Martini Lunch?
Oh my gosh, well, it's been a few weeks. So I took 3 or 4 days off. I went to a beach out here in California, which was wonderful, beautiful weather, great beach. I don't know if when the last time I was on, I am now a licensed Ziegler coach, so I'm excited about that. And that all happened basically through Rockstar Connect. What I found was real estate agents needed help, so I've been coaching agents for a long time. And when we started with Rockstar Connect, we found that entrepreneurs and business owners ran into some of the same challenges that everybody else does. So I began helping them, and then decided to become a Ziegler coach so that I would be, get some additional training so I could provide excellent value.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, Ziegler is very close to my heart. I learned most of what I know about sales from him and from closing. And there was a post that I read today from a pretty impactful real estate agent who's talking about what makes the best real estate agents. Is it the matrix of how much volume do they sell? And I said, well, I not if every one of his clients are unhappy. You could have a lot
That's
of
right.
terrible real estate agent that doesn't do the hand holding. I think that many people would like to judge their success by their clients' customer satisfaction and how they're impacting other people's lives, not having it based strictly on the numbers. And
I agree.
applaud you for becoming a Ziegler coach. Who's a Ziegler fan on the panel? Katia is, and Jenny. Dylan, you should really read some Zig Ziglar. He'll speak to you. He's going to help you so much in your business. It'll increase immediately. People talk about lead generation. So you generate leads. How are you going to serve those leads? Zig Ziglar is going to teach you how to do that. Thank you.
Wrote the name down. Thanks.
Go ahead, Dylan. I'm sorry.
I wrote the name down. Thanks. I'll look into that.
Zig Ziglar and Dale Carnegie. Everybody would say read Dale Carnegie as well. Yeah. With Dale Carnegie, you want to start with how to win friends and influence people. And read it again and again throughout your career. It'll always be poignant, despite the fact that it was written in the 30s.
Yeah, timeless.
Timeless. And Zig Ziglar hasn't been with us for almost 2 decades, yet people still are following his wise words. Jacqueline Wittenburg. You were so disappointed that we weren't on last week. Jackie, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Where are you working from today?
I am in one of my favorite spots, Panera Bread over in the corner. I think they save it for me. I'm the Panera Bread lady. They have good coffee.
Good coffee, and I hear they have the soup bread bowls.
Oh, the soup bread bowls are delicious, but the coffee is the best. I frequent Panera Bread, and Caribou Coffee is my other spot. It's just a little noisy in Caribou, so Panera is my favorite spot to come and have Zoom meetings and all those good things.
So I know you've had some successes in the past week, but let's concentrate a little bit about what's coming up next week for you.
Well, I've got a really, really big week coming up, and it's been taking a good 2 months to get to this point, but we're approaching November 9th, which is Monday, is our biggest event of the year. It is our golf tournament. It's the 2020 Derek Wittenberg Foundation annual golf invitational, and I'm so excited. We have some amazing people participating in this tournament, and we welcome all of our new sponsors, and we are excited about our many returning sponsors. That means the world to us. That means we're doing something right, what we committed to doing in the community, and so I'm grateful for that. And Clint's going to be joining us, and Scott Rutter is going to be joining us, and the wonderful Jeff Messer will be out doing some really fun things for us. I'm so excited about this, and on top of that, this week, last week was pretty amazing. I am about to close on a really, really very important partner. We're about to embark on a very important partnership, and I'm just so excited about that. It'll be our first major corporate partnership that's going to actually support some of the programs that we've implemented for the students that we serve. So I'm really excited about that, and it's a lot of great things happening, a lot of work going on. Can't wait to take a mini vacation in between this and the next project, but I'm grateful for all of the support and just really, really, really happy about how things are coming together.
And it sounds great. They also have some rock and music there at the Panera.
Oh, Yeah, they do have some rocking music here. Usually, I have my headphones on, so I'm not paying attention. But okay, you're getting their musical concert here.
It sounds like a conga line or something. Like you guys should get up and start dancing between the seats. Jenny Midgley, welcome to Three Martini Lunch. I don't think we saw you last time around, so we're glad to have you back.
Yeah, thank you for having. Yeah, I had to take.
Love your new hairstyle.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to take Samantha to her 5-year well visit because she had a birthday, and then I took her to the doctor, and they said, "Well, we can give her a flu shot today." And I said, "Give her all the shots. You got extras?"
Give extra
So
shots.
that's what I did on Tuesday. Poor thing. Yeah,
Well,
we had to hold her down. Like, I didn't realize that they actually were going to bring in all 4 at once, and they did
all the
but
shots at once.
She's
So,
good now.
Was that your success for the week, or was there some more to it?
No, we had Halloween turned out to be really good in our house. We did the pumpkin patch on Friday. We carved on Saturday. We did a candy hunt in the backyard, so the kids got to dress up. And we just, like, it was low key and chill. And then I chunked up the pumpkin for the dog, and like it was a really easy weekend. We got a new sponsor for Girls Who Do Stuff, John Bianchi from Blue Comet Media. So his quarter of sponsorship starts today with our episode with Mayor Jacques Gilbert, which, if anybody has met the town of Apex mayor or have seen him anywhere, he is maybe one of the nicest men ever. He's also very nice to look at, I will say. And he was just a dream guest to have in studio. So definitely check out that episode. Yes, Domenic, he was a better guest than you. I have to say it.
Was he a better guest than Sarah? No.
Well, it's comparing apples to oranges there. So, we got to talk about horticulture and shoes with Sarah. So,
So with Domenic, it was comparing apples to apples, and he didn't.
Good, right, because I'm the mayor of the town that you live in, so that's fair.
It's 100% fair, I think. Hey, thank you, Jenny. Dylan, are you ready to give this a shot?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so first of all, Dylan, please, you can tell us what you do, just a little bit real quick, and then share with us what your success has been for the week.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all via Zoom. My name is Dylan Linsky. I know you guys have probably met my dad, Mark, and my brother, David. I've recently joined their business, which is really exciting for all of us. Our company is called Linsky Financial Group, and we're financial advisors, and we have a specific branch of our company that's called debt-free living. So instead of focusing on specific investment vehicles, we specialize in understanding and eliminating debt for all of our clients. So we're talking mortgages, credit cards, student loans, medical bills. But I want to be very clear, we're not a debt consolidation or a refinancing company. What we're able to do is we structure plans that allow our clients to pay off debts in a much quicker period of time that results in much less interest out of their pockets. And all of this is done without spending any additional dollars than you typically spend each month. So once your debts are paid off, we advise on redirecting those former debt payments into growth and retirement vehicles. So ultimately, our clients are left with no debt, significantly less interest out of their bank account, and a tremendous balance that's geared for retirement, but still accessible at any age. So this isn't just for people that are behind on their debt payments. It's for anyone with debt that would rather earn interest instead of pay it.
So you're just changing their strategy?
We are changing their strategy, and we're just changing how their dollars are allocated that are going towards paying down their debts.
Terrific. And what success have you had in the last week? That could be a personal success, business success, you name it.
Yeah, so we had a couple of exciting, breakthroughs that we're working on. Right now, the whole prospecting situation is we want to get in front of as many people as possible to tell them what we're doing, because we really do feel that we're offering a service that does help people and gets them out of debt much quicker. So we're working on 2 clients right now, one of which is a company in New York that employs about 1,000 people, most of which are millennials that have built up quite the amount of student debt. So right now we're working with their benefits team and head of HR to try to, speak to their employees and work together to form a plan that allows the employer to contribute to the student debts and some sort of match program. And then we come in as well and put together a plan so that they can pay off their student loans much quicker. So that's something really exciting that we're working on. And we've been developing this for quite some time. Hopefully we'll be able to break through there as well.
What's great is I like that, you and David are both part of, your family bank as well as your own company, but you guys have decided to work with younger people. And a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier for us to connect at this point with younger people just because of our specific age. As we build up more of a track record, I think it'll be easier for us to approach, people 40s and 50s. But right now, just where we're at, we connect better with people, in 20s and 30s, from what we can tell.
Or you grow
the
up,
principles apply to everyone. So
and you grow up with your clients too. I mean, you're all gonna be old like us one day.
Right. Well, I guess so. I mean, we plan to be, and when that does happen, we want to make sure not only us, but all of our clients are in the best possible position financially. They're free of all their debts, and they've, created a nice nest egg to feed off of that they have access to really at any point in time.
So, did you go to University of Florida like David?
No, David actually, he went to Florida State. He's a Seminole. I went to the University of Wisconsin, actually. So quite a different climate than what he experienced.
Yeah. In every way possible.
Yeah.
Although
it's fun to visit him though after I graduated.
A pretty big party school as well.
It had its fun and it had its educational purposes. Any of you guys have kids that are looking at colleges and that's something that's interesting to them, I could not vouch for it enough. It was a great experience.
See, I thought you'd went that he had went to Florida State, excuse me, University of Florida. But Florida State's great too. My daughter's applying to colleges now, and she applied to UF, and she applied to Florida State, and she applied to New College.
Got any preference from you?
I would like her to go to New College because she is an art student, and I think she would do well with the smaller numbers. University of Florida is where I went, and that's just an enormous school. I mean, sink or swim.
Yeah, it's a cool town though.
Definitely a cool town. Haven't been back in a while.
Go Canes.
Okay. Yeah, my fiance and all of her family, I actually live in Miami right now, and they're all about the U, like hardcore. Ray, did you go to Miami?
You did go there?
Yes, many, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And my grandfather graduated from law school at University of Miami in 1952.
Not that long ago.
That long ago? Were you guys in the same class? No? Okay.
I graduated in 86.
86. That's when I started at UF in 86. Graduated in 90. Any other Florida people went to school in Florida on the panel? I'm sorry, guys, that you didn't. It was a great experience, Florida schools. So, Rena.
Hey.
Rena in Oklahoma.
Right.
Great to see you.
Well, thank you. I missed you last week.
Yes.
I was in an ice storm. I don't know if you heard on the news, Oklahoma City was hit by ice and we lost power. I mean, the city just shut down. I was in 3 different hotels. The house that I'm staying in while I'm in Oklahoma City lost power. I went to a hotel, it lost power. Did you ever try to navigate down hotel stairs in the dark?
No.
Oh, man. And finally, Friday, we got electricity back. So that was the highlight of my week. I survived that. But the big success is we're back in rehearsal. I may have told you another time that I'm in Oklahoma City to direct a play at Oklahoma City University. And we hadn't had a rehearsal since last Friday because of the ice. So we're back in rehearsal and I couldn't be happier.
That's fantastic. Are you originally from Oklahoma or not?
Well, no, I'm from Tucson, Arizona originally. And, I found Oklahoma by accident in the late 70s. And I have just used Tulsa as my hub. I've been other places in the region teaching, but I just seem to come back to Tulsa because it's a wonderful city.
I think that you should write a play that I found Oklahoma in the 70s. It sounds like a play.
Hey, I agree. That could be really fun. The 70s were fun.
Yeah.
In Tulsa. They were fun everywhere.
Yeah, 70s or something. So had you experienced an ice storm before? Was that the first time?
No, it's not the first time. If you live in this part of the country, you experience ice storms. And they're the kind that just shut everything down, shroud everything in a half an inch of ice. Trees fall down, power lines break. It's really quite a phenomenon. I spent a great deal of time during that time in my car charging my phone because it was the only place that I could get power. But you'd have to thaw out your car to get the door open to get in it. So it was nature really setting up a lot of obstacle courses for us.
So we get ice storms here in North Carolina, and I'm helping Ray's daughter, or I helped her find a home here in North Carolina, and she heard about ice storms and immediately called everyone in the country to ask what an ice storm was.
Oh.
And I said, we have them, but they're just not that common here. And here, as far as cold weather is concerned, and everyone will back me up that's from North Carolina, we just sort of ignore it. We just don't go to work. It's vacation. If there's a quarter inch of snow or any ice on the ground, we just take the month off.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have snow plows, so that's one of the reasons. Clint, let's go over you, Clint. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, what's up, guys? I completely agree with you here, Stephen. Whenever there's any chance of snow, it's the necessity is wine, not milk or toilet paper or whatever. Necessity is enough of the big bottles of wine to make it through whatever is coming. So for sure. So success of the week. Professionally, closed another deal. So that's great. Signed actually 2 more contracts. I am super duper excited to be a part of whatever Jackie's going to have me do on Monday. So whatever that may be, I am game and looking forward to it. And on a personal note, my success this week is completing the first 30 days of the last 90-day challenge. So that's done and over with. So now I get to pick up another food I shouldn't eat and cross it off the list for the next 30 days.
That's fantastic. I think maybe because North Carolina does shut down on a moment's notice for ice storms and snow, we were like readily prepared to shut down for COVID. This has just been one long ice storm.
Yeah, but when we have ice storms here, they really hit. I mean, you remember the last one, the last big one, when it was like Glenwood was shut down and like on fire. So that was something.
How long ago was that?
Maybe 2008, maybe 2010, something like that. That was the last real big one that I remember. But I remember the memes of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man like stomping on cars that were on fire on Glenwood and people going crazy. Yeah, it was.
I think I remember the meme, but I don't remember the storm.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. I think it was 2010. I'll look it up.
Yeah, great. No snowstorm next week for the golf course. No ice storm.
It's going to be 70 degrees.
Jennifer Williamson, welcome back to the show. If you could just remind people, what do you do?
So, hey everyone, I'm Jennifer Williamson. I'm the owner of Mint Print LLC. We're based out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm also the owner of our publication called Carolina Bulletin, which is responsible for this animated series called Carolina Bulletin News, where we have cartoon characters talking about local events and our clients who advertise with us. And our monthly post reaches about 2 million-ish every month. So what we do is we help increase engagements for businesses with animation and motion graphics. So that's something that's very unique to us. And plus we do everything else, graphic design, web design, video editing, you name it. So my information is in the chat if you want to find more information, but that's pretty much my information.
Well, that's great. So you are actually a person. You are not a penguin. This is an animation.
Well, that's debatable sometimes, but yeah, that's.
Well, why don't you let everybody see you for just 1 second so we can prove that, and you can share what your success has been for the week. See, a real person. So what has been your success for the week, Jennifer?
So my success for the week is that we introduce a new service, interactive content. Basically, I can create videos or edit images with clickable spots throughout it so that it pops up information, and it could be embedded into a website or other place where you might want to use it to close deals and get more clicks to your site. So that's something very new to the whole advertising industry. We're one of the first few people to do that.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, I was talking about that with someone yesterday, and they said that is impossible. So you really are cutting edge.
Right, exactly. So now if you want information about your product or service, click.
They said that is not possible. That cannot be done yet.
Now we can. So
congratulations. That is very powerful. That's something that I'm sure we're going to want to all know more about. Thank you for coming back on the program.
Thank you very much.
Katia, I saved you for last because Katia has had an enormous success in the last week or two that I'd like her to share with you.
Hello, I have missed you guys, like big time. This is when we know, then we hear and we say, I miss my family. So that was really cool for me to see. I've been here, I haven't been here in a while. So the first really cool success is I have been signing books. I have been shipping and mailing books. My book is out. So that has been absolutely an amazing win, an amazing success. And I'm very grateful to really see how supportive people have been. I think that probably is the one thing that really came out of this. In this time and this world right now where everybody is tearing each other on, social media, and it's just been amazing to, on a one-on-one, how people have been supportive. So that's been a great thing. The second great thing is we have been spending really the past 4 weeks in my company as a business coach, really to understand what's going on right now with people who are not making money. So we've run surveyed and we have talked like one-on-one with people, and we have put together a summit. I feel like a lot of people are focusing on 2021 right now and what do they want and their goal, but 2020 is not finished. There's still so many weeks, and there's holidays, meaning then there's Black Friday and there's Christmas, and there's opportunity that small business owners are really not seeing right now because they are Zoom fatigued and they are losing their momentum. So we've actually put a summit in 12 days. And that was pretty cool to see the experts from all over the world, and I was able to gather, which would have not been possible without events like this and all these international events that I've been attending. So I know that I haven't been here for the past 5 weeks, but I feel like I'm really in some way helping so many others to finish the world strong, and hopefully, for them to start really making money and giving them hope for 2021.
To that end, your book is not just a book. It's not like it's not a memoir. It's something that you can use to create business right now. So yes. How many leads can you produce in a month with your book?
I would say if you actually follow the book pretty well, you could get at least 5 leads in 30 days. The book is really, so I'm a dancer, right? And I always say that dancing is, I dance Argentine tango, and Argentine tango is very different than what you see on Dancing with the Stars, right? Dancing with the Stars is very apart, and it's kind of a show. And true Argentine tango, it's all about connection and all about being together and really being grounded to your fundamental. And it is a total dance that knows improvisation. But the book is really truly based on that, is how can we improvise with fundamentals? So, we talk about sales, like, if I go to a dancing event and I don't look the part, well, I probably won't be chosen because people don't know that I'm a good dancer. So we go really through like sales, and we go through, you know, networking, and how do we use speaking, and all of that is related to Argentine tango at the same time.
Excellent. Dylan, sounds like a good book, doesn't it?
It definitely does. I might need to get a copy.
Yes, yes, yes. I will put it. It's called Success is a Dance and How the Rules of Tango Will Make Your Business Work. So I will put that into the chat. And I will be live at Mark Roberts in December event at Rockstar event, and I will do some book signing over there. So
that's great. Are you going to go to any of the Rockstar Connect events next week here in the Triangle?
I just texted. So Clint was like, "Hey, you need to text Domenic," and I just texted him and privately to see if we could make that happen.
Great, and we really want for everyone's events to be successful. But we especially want Domenic's event to be exceptional, because he has done so much work during COVID to keep networking up in the area, and he deserves to have a really well attended event. So if you can go, please go. I mean, Dylan, it's worth flying up, for sure. Flights are cheap right now. They're super cheap. And bring a friend with. We're going to be at our first event at a Marriott hotel in Morrisville, and I understand they're going to be producing individual appetizers for people that are going to the event, and there'll be drinks and all sorts of stuff. And of course, Domenic and his fiance Heather will be there, and it's going to be real exciting. She's the hostess with the mostess, so you definitely want to be there. Katia, I'm going to come back to you in a moment, Domenic, but Katia, can you give us one, I know this is hard because it's a book, there's a lot of tips. One tip that our panelists and attendees can put into practice to perhaps develop a lead this during the rest of this week and next week?
Don't follow the crowd. That's actually the best advice I can give you right now. I just spoke right after Les Brown last week on the same stage, and I am day and night. I love him, I adore him, but my style is different. And even going after him, I did not change my style. And what it did is a lot of people who really connect with you and understand how you are and what you convey, they will be drawn by you. But we don't have to please everybody. I think that right now that's priceless.
100%. Okay, so don't follow the crowd. So would that be, for an example, what could somebody do to not follow the crowd?
So, I mean, for example, a lot of people right now are saying then, hey, you have to pivot. Hey, you have to be online all the time. And, I rather seeing you saying like, you know what, quality over quantity is so much better than anything else. And right now, that's not the message. People are like, go everywhere, go to every single thing. Well, people are not showing up the way they need to show up. And don't be afraid to say things like that.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen you in a few weeks because you've been busy. But, in my case, and I would say Sarah's case and our panelist case, less of you has made us want more of you.
Yeah.
Is that sort of what you want? You're saying, like, not be so available?
In some way, you really have to pick and choose at the time and the season of your business where you want to be. Right? And it's okay sometimes to be off camera. I really chosen the places where I had to be there at a date. The race was really dedicated because I am very goal oriented and I need to achieve my goal by December 31st. And for me to be able to achieve that, I have to put some work and maybe be a little less on camera. But yeah, I mean, I've missed you guys. I got texts like, hey, we didn't see you on Rockstar. Why don't you go? I was like, oh no, please, let's go, let's support it. But, so I don't think also we realize what people are getting used to, but just showing up is not enough. We have to put some intention and like all of you guys today who are here, if it's the same thing, like connect with each other, connect with someone you haven't connected. Like I know I actually do not know Rena. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just wrote it down. I was like, I need to connect with her. So do things like that to keep it,
Rena would be a perfect connection for Rena. Can you tell Katia what you do?
I'm a voice, speech, and confidence coach. I come from the theater background, and I work with executives and leaders and storytellers on being better speakers.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, and that's actually the perfect example, right? I voiced in my opinion. I said, hey, I need to connect. I'm not just walking the, I walk the walk. I don't just talk the talk.
Well, I think that you had a lot of influence on many of our panelists, including myself, when I think you were one of the first of us to say, you know what, I can work from anywhere. You went out to New Bern and you were working out by the water. And then all of us sort of said, yeah, we can do that too.
That's right. And we've been to the beach. Like, we've spent now 10 days at the beach last month. I had to be a lot on video for that. I was on a TV show and then on a radio show for the book. And I wanted to do that from the beach. And in 2 weeks, doing the same. We'll be at the beach and, enjoying to work from there. So.
Excellent. Where can people get your book? Get a copy.
People can get the book onto our website. It will be on Amazon in 2 weeks, but right now at ravestrategystudio.com/book.
Would this be a good book to give as a gift to clients for the holidays?
Yeah, very much so. If you know anybody who is an entrepreneur, it is not a dance book. It's really where all of the rules of the dance really can come along into your business to make it a little bit more fun than just like, hey, sales, hey, networking, hey, speaking.
Yeah, it's good to have a great metaphor for that. I'll come right to you, Clint. For me, I try to explain sales to someone who's new to sales, and it's a harder metaphor to use because they don't know what I'm talking about. Now I say it's a lot like driving stick.
Yes.
Driving a car, stick shift sales. Sometimes you got to give it the gas, sometimes the clutch, and sometimes you got to just slam on everything all at once. And go back. But they probably dance is a better metaphor because nobody knows how to drive stick anymore. Clint, go ahead. You have a question for Katia.
And sometimes you have to downshift, Stephen. So I mean,
yes.
It could be a metaphor for a lot of things. Katia, are you going to put it on Audible?
I definitely am. We actually just explore that. So and this is where also as a business owner, I just seen I am a book. I want to touch it. I want to feel it. I don't think I realized how many people are actually reading book on Audible until, actually my own husband said, honey, you have. And I was like, no, nobody does that. And so in the survey that I did, I actually asked every single person, like, how do you read? And I was truly impressed and really surprised to see how many people do that.
Yeah, that's all I do. That's all I do when I run
Audible?
and stuff. So
what is Audible?
Listening. So it's audiobooks. So the next question, Katia, is would you do
Books
it?
on tape.
Yes.
Stephen, books on tape.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what, Jenny?
I said it's like books on tape.
Yes.
Which I will still default and be like, I'm listening to a book on tape. And my husband's like, no. You're not.
So this is like we're talking different verbiage. Like, when I tell my kids record album and they look at me like,
right,
what's an album? What's a record?
And
so
that
Stephen,
that was exactly me, Stephen. I was like, what's Audible? And my husband was like, that's how I've been listening to these audiobook. And I was like, who does that really? And it was really surprising.
Right before, I'm sorry, go ahead, Clint.
It's the best way that I found to be able to actually like immerse yourself in a book, especially if it's one of those books that requires something like that. Like for instance, like a long Stephen King novel, right? So he says he would rather you listen to the book than read it. So it's a different experience because you have different characters, and those characters, when you're reading it in a book, you make up those character like voices in your head and like accents or whatever, but whenever you're listening to it, it's actually done. It's there for you already. It's pretty awesome, Stephen.
I remember listening to a book on tape that was a Carl Hyacin book, and it was read by Ed Asner. If you know who Ed Asner is, and him doing the female voices, that was really something. Ed Asner doing a seductive female voice. He didn't pull it off. Let's just say that, but it was definitely funny. Now, we're big book people. I was in the book business for 15 years. I owned 4 bookstores. Right before COVID, we sold our entire home library. We sold, I think it was 1,500 books. And Sarah just this week refilled our entire library from storage. So we have probably another 1,500 books in the house that, you know, we have to go through and decide what we're going to keep and what we're not going to keep. But I think there's a few thousand more in storage too. But I enjoy those. It's Audible. That's okay. Dylan, don't forget to check out Audible.
It's a Amazon, Stephen. It's an Amazon product.
Yeah, I have an account for Audible. It's great.
Yeah.
You can just put it on your Bluetooth. It's great.
I read novels and listen to like professional development books.
I mean, I think if you live in South Florida where Dylan lives, if you don't have that, you're in trouble because you're in the car. If you go out in your car, you're not in your car for 15 minutes.
All highway driving.
All highway driving and very slow. So you need to have that, have the ability to maximize your time.
It is great for windshield time, Stephen.
Great for windshield time. And so Domenic, before we go to the second hour, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're hoping from your Rockstar Connect event next week?
You know, I'm really hoping just to have a great event and have, you know, a handful of people come out. I don't want to get overwhelmed with the first event back out. You know, I want to have it be well attended, but I want people to be respectful, social distance, wear masks, you know, be safe and take care of their health first and foremost. But then I also want people to understand that you can still be safe and continue to do the business that you need to do. And for people like you, Stephen, myself, and the rest of us who spend every week doing this networking, that we can continue to network in person as long as you do it safely. You know, that it doesn't, you know, you don't have to limit your in-person contact like that.
Networking in person, I got to tell you, is so exciting right now and invigorating because it feels somewhat, you know, illicit a little bit.
It does a little bit, although, you know, one thing I'm really excited about with this particular event is this is our first time partnering with the Marriott company. And this is an opportunity to prove to them that we can really bring people into their properties and show them that they're open for business, right? And it'll give us an opportunity as a company with Rockstar Connect to expand that relationship and really, you know, take that regionally and possibly nationwide. And the other thing is having an event, a live event in a hotel like that, it gives you a lot more space. And hotels by definition have better HVAC systems, ventilation systems. They have, you know, more staff that's just dedicated to the cleanliness of the space and the sanitation. So I think that it's a great opportunity for us to really have a fantastic space. And, you know, with Marriott, you're talking about a global company with properties all over the world. Not that, you know, we're taking networking events global yet, but, you know, if that relationship develops over time, we could, right?
100%. And what's great is Domenic, you know, made this introduction, and the hotels really need it because in urban areas, you know, like the Triangle, only you know, one in 5 hotel rooms are filled right now. It's horrible. And really, their public spaces have always been underutilized. If you travel around the country and you go to like a Hyatt house or, you know, a Marriott Courtyard hotel, which mostly business travelers go to those places, the lobbies are empty. And they would be so great if you could be traveling and meet people in that city while you're there. That would be a big added value, not only for you, but for the hotel and for the guests of the hotel. So we are excited that, you know, guests are going to jump, that are staying at the hotel are going to jump into our event or your event, Domenic. So we're really excited about that. And we are limiting it to 40 people for safety purposes. but the space that we're doing it in is, designed to hold, well over 200 people. So we have plenty of room for social distancing. And Sarah and I are going to be there that evening because we are in the triangle to help with, sign in and taking people's temperatures and making sure they have masks so that Domenic can truly be a host with Heather, enjoy himself, and grow his business. So good luck next week. We can't wait to see you there. If anyone else can go, please do. So I came up with a question for this week. Sarah's going to type that question into the chat. And so Dylan, what we do for the second hour, and Jennifer, just to remind you, because it's been a while, I'm going to ask a question that's for everyone to answer. And there's no right or wrong way to answer it. You're not going to be graded. Well, you will be, but you'll never see the grade. We keep that private. And we get to learn about you. And that way people on the panel will know whether they want to connect with you. And I think both of you have youthful exuberance and are doing new things. So people are definitely going to want to connect with you. Did you put the question up?
Wait for you to start saying it.
Oh, I told you the question to write it down.
I have it.
Hey, can you say it? Because I don't remember it exactly verbatim. Put it into the thing so I can read it. Okay. What short-term losses are you willing to accept in order to reap amazing future gains? In other words, what are you willing to give up, or what risks are you willing to take in order to have amazing future gains? And then maybe you don't want to do anything. You're just sort of conservative. So Jenny likes the question. Does that mean you want to go first, Jenny?
I'll go first. I heard it. I was like, yes, that's a great question.
Thank you.
It's always a good question when answers immediately pop in my head. Thank you.
I like that.
I think for me, right, like I'm a service-based business. I do photography, I do digital marketing, coaching, and consulting. And so for me, like, I almost liken it back to the network marketing model of go for no, right? Eric Worre's go for no. That's where, like, I am willing to accept all the no's if it leads to those bigger yeses, right? Because that means that I'm able to vet out the clients that aren't going to be my ideal clients, that aren't going to maybe have the best experience with me, or that I may have too many lessons learned by working with them. And so those, like, immediately, that was my first response. But also, I think it's the willingness to accept in the short term that there are things that I won't be able to outsource because I need to grow to the point where I can outsource those things. So, because you have to be judicious about what it is you're spending your business dollars on for expenses, right? So, just thinking about those sacrifices of time maybe, or inefficiency, right? I am like, I need things to be efficient. I need things to be so efficient. It frustrates me to no end when things don't go smoothly. And when there's always better, there's always ways to do it better. And so when I know my own processes are inefficient, it's frustrating, but I'm willing to accept that in the short term, knowing that I'm building to the place where there's going to be greater gains.
I mean, right. When you started your business, you didn't have any process. I mean, you had some processes in place.
Yeah.
But they were all, you didn't know whether it was going to serve your client or yourself yet at that point. You had to,
right.
Someone had to be your guinea pig, right?
Well, I mean, I think that there's another lesson there, that your clients should never be your guinea pigs, right? Like, that's not, to me, that's not in alignment with how I want to run my business. The guinea pig is like, hey, friend, can I borrow you for like an hour and test this stuff out, right? Like when Domenic and I were working together, we had contracted for so much, and I was like, you know what? I need more help. Can I schedule more time with you? And you don't have to pay me, but I need to work these kinks out. And he was willing to do that with me. So, that was, so that I could better it for my other clients.
I mean, there's going to be some people that are, you're not going to be able to serve them. They're going to get really pissed off. because they.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. I had one of those a few months ago.
Mhm.
Nothing I said was going to make it better. I didn't do anything wrong. She was just unhappy.
Well, that's unfortunate for her. Yeah. So who would like to take a crack at this next? Jackie, this sounds like a good one for you. What short-term losses are you willing to accept to reap for amazing future gains? And the reason why I think this is a good one for you is you are a person who believes does not believe in instant gratification. You believe in delayed gratification in order to achieve goals. So that's why I think it's a great question for you. Am I correct there?
For me, Stephen, I am willing to really step back and evaluate, or shall I say reevaluate, my circle or my network, if you will. It doesn't mean that I don't value all of the people in my network. It's just that sometimes when you have specific goals to reach, not everyone fits into that equation to help you achieve that. And so I think it's a good idea to step back and reevaluate my circle and compare it to the goals that I've set for myself. And it doesn't mean, like you said, this is a temporary thing. It doesn't mean that those people don't add value to my life. They just don't fit into the equation for what I'm trying to accomplish.
And that might just be for now.
Yes.
So you might have to explain that to them, and that might be the short-term loss. They may be ticked off for a little while.
Exactly. But I think in every decision that you make that involves someone that you care about, and if you're close to me, if you're in my circle, there's something there special about you that I see. So you definitely add value. It's just that you may not fit that puzzle of what I'm trying to accomplish at the moment. So, but I think there's a way to relay that message without hurting people. And because you never know, our goals change, regularly, and you never know when you may need to circle back to those people. But for me, I think it's important to, sometimes you have to do that. You have to temporarily part ways or with people to achieve your goals. And so that's where I am right now.
Right, and not everyone, and I think people have a tendency to think that their goals is the same as your goals sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to.
And sometimes you can get into trouble too, not finishing what you started or reaching or achieving your goals because you're too afraid to take the necessary steps to make them happen.
Excellent. So Dylan, this is a great question for you because you help your clients with this. Right?
Yeah, and I was looking at this question from a few different perspectives.
Great.
Personally, like just myself, as I kind of mentioned, I'm newer to joining into my family business. So recently, what I gave up, my short-term loss to do this was I had a career that I built up for the past 8 years or so in the real estate investment side of things, to a point at which I actually had my own investment company with my partner. And for the past 3 years, we've been finding distressed, rundown apartment complexes kind of all over the country to renovate them, get them fully occupied and leased and stabilized, and sell them for a pretty good margin. And we've been doing this now for the past 3 years. We built up a pretty solid investor base of limited partners who have been funding these deals and built up a decent track record. And the lifestyle that it was, the business of everything was great, but the actual lifestyle, I didn't know how sustainable it was. I just got engaged recently. I'm getting married soon. And it required me to be, thank you. We were actually supposed to get married 2 weeks ago, but we had to postpone the wedding because of the craziness in the world right now. But anyways, things were going great, but it just required me to be in places that wasn't home for too long period of time. And it kind of forced me to change course with my career. And it wasn't until I talked to my dad and my brother about the things that they were doing, it was something that was exciting enough for me to completely drop my track record that I'd built up to this point and completely switch an entire career path. just because it's something that I believe in. I know they believe in it, and it's something that's really, really helping people. So that's, you know, definitely something I'm giving up in the short term for something that I believe in for the long term.
Great answer to the question, and thank you for sharing that. I know that's a real personal story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go over to Ray. Ray, what
Hi.
short-term losses are you willing to accept to reap for amazing future gains?
Well, first, thanks. First, I want to talk to Jenny about not practicing on your clients. I think that's awesome. I think we do that with our kids, right? So you, Stephen, you met Jessica. She's my oldest.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of practiced on her before we got to Sydney. So don't do that with your clients, because although Jessica loves me, we have some animosity. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but I mean, she reminds me, you know, you did some mean things. I'm sure I did. I was practicing, I was learning. So don't do that with your clients. But I was also in the military. I was in the Air Force, and one of the things that that we said is you can be in the military. You can be assigned for duty for a year, say for example, away from your family, away from everybody. So we used to say you can do anything for a year. So while I don't necessarily recommend staying away from your family, I think you know the long-term goals. You know that there's gold in your backyard and you just have to dig the right spot to get it, and it takes you a year to do it, then you do it. So it could be money, it could be time. I think Jacqueline was absolutely correct when she said people doesn't mean you can stop loving them. It just means that that person is not helping you move forward. So when it comes to doing what you got to do for you and your family, then I think literally you could give up quite a bit. So for me, it's easy to say time and money. My kids are grown. So time and money would be the easiest things for me to give up for long-term success.
That's fantastic. You know, right now, we're like in a grand social experiment. Right now, if you have children at home, they're now part of your business, right? I mean, Jenny, don't you feel like, you know, they have to be quiet during certain periods of time, and you know, because before you were busy, you didn't spend any time with your kids. Now they're right here. Like right now, we have Evie, our youngest, is making sure that the dogs don't attack one another. So that we can
in answer to that, I got an office. Like COVID hit, and I went out and got an office so that I don't have to deal with that at home. And my husband deals with it all day, but you know, he's willing. I'm not.
Yeah, I just had a client, and he had to make a decision because they had to move into a new home, and they went into a hotel for 1 week with their 4 kids and their dog and his job, waiting for their house that was delayed to close. It was not a pleasant time for them, but I guarantee you, you know, they're happy to be in their new big house with a dedicated office. And certainly the children, at least some of the older children, will remember the experience. Hi, welcome Arline, welcome Norma. So glad to have you here. Norma, it was so nice to get that email from you earlier in the week. I really appreciate it. We have a great question for this week. And I think, Norma, maybe we'll just jump right in with you. It's a question right up your alley.
Right.
What short-term losses are you willing to accept to reap for amazing future gains?
Well, what short-term things? That what you said, short-term, am I willing to give up?
Yes, short-term, not permanent.
Okay. Well, sometimes you think they're going to be short-term, they end up being long-term. So
choose wisely then.
Yeah, well, you know, I gave up, I stepped out of the rat race about 20 years ago. I gave that up thinking it would be a short-term give up, but I didn't. It ended up being what I ended up making my life different. Because I really couldn't take, I was impressed to hear Jenny say she couldn't do what her husband could do, because I had that same situation when I raised my niece many years ago. And he was the more patient one. But just like stepping out, I can't take the 9 to 5s. It's just not in my DNA. I can't do it. can't do it. So I learned very early that I had to have every day different. Every day has to be a new adventure in one way or another. And all I saw in the main jobs was a routine of doing the same thing every day. So I just gave up that, which I thought would be short term, but ended up being a lifestyle. And I couldn't do it any other way. I'm psychologically unemployable. So this works better.
Well, you and I are very similar. I say that all the time, that I am unemployable and have been for 31 years. I've been unemployable. That's the last time someone wrote a paycheck for me. And I've had, several iterations of Stephen David Elliott, different careers and experiences that I wanted to do, where I was successful. And I said, you know what, this is great. It's just getting too comfortable. I need a new challenge because life is long and it's not just about making money and about the job. It's about having new challenges and trying exciting new things. So, I mean, I really, you didn't get to hear Dylan, but Dylan, who is, younger than most of us on this program, I'm guessing, just left a very successful business and career he started to move into another career to help because he believes in it. He knows that he's going to help a lot of people, and that's going to be the ultimate success. So, I mean, I'm a big Norma fan, big Norma Hollis fan, and Norma teaches about the authentic self. She's a coach, and she teaches you how to be your authentic self. We have a lot of people on this panel that have had changes in their career. I mean, really everybody on this panel, every single person on this panel. Ray was military, and he's in sales now and in leadership positions and a coach. And Domenic was a chef, amongst other things. And we're successful at them, and, had material gain from it and had recognition. But it's like, hey, I want to live to 100.
Right.
I don't want to do the same thing for 100 years, though.
Well, Stephen, I want to share one thing with you. One of the things, the values I have and the work I do, I get to host events where I learn from other coaches. So I did one recently with Marshall Goldsmith's summit that he had for 100 leaders. And I was the host for a roundtable for a lady that talked about the S curve and understanding where you are in the S curve. The S curve has 3 points to it. It has the bottom point, and you're there when you're starting a new project. And it has the middle point, which is where you are when you are in your zone. So you've made it work and it's working. And the top point is when, okay, I made it work, I'm tired of it, I need something else. So many of us do the S curve many, many times. And you can be in multiple places on multiple S curves at the same time. But I think it's a really good barometer to easily see where you are and whether you're stuck on the bottom or whether you're moving, and whether you're, especially as entrepreneurs, do you keep the cycle going? So I just wanted to share that with you.
Well, that's great. I had the good luck of working early in my career when I was probably younger than Dylan with quite a bit of Holocaust survivors. Because I was a geriatric social worker in Miami Beach, which is probably the epicenter of elder care in the country, or at least was at that time, and served a population with a lot of Holocaust survivors. And they were amazing what they did. There was one gentleman who he was entombed in Ukraine in a bunker with 40 other people throughout the entire war. Missed his education entirely, had absolutely no education. Came to the United States. Thank God there's a United States to come to as a refuge. And he became a department store owner. And the way he did it is he saw someone else that was doing it. And he went to that person and said, look, if you don't teach me how to do it and lend me the money to do it in another town, I'm going to do it, learn how to do it, and I'm going to do it in your town and be your competition. So he said, like, you're going to deal with me one way or the other, either as a friend or as competition. And he ended up, buying shopping centers. And when he was in his 80s, he went and got his high school diploma, his undergraduate degree, and his master's degree, and wrote a book about his experience during the wartime. And he distributed that and became the #1 self-published book in the state of Florida at that time. And he was in his 80s. I had another client who was in Tierenstadt, which was a concentration camp in Germany when she was in her 20s. And when she came back to the United States, she became an attorney in her 50s. A very successful attorney. The stories can go on, and these are people that experienced tremendous losses, but it just spurred them on to say, I survived there has to be a reason for these tremendous losses. And us, we have some losses that are occurring now in our society that are not really within our control and not our choice, but it's our choice to step above that and really work on our authentic selves to determine how we want to live out the rest of our lives. And Dylan, you're doing this now. I'd love to see what you're doing 20 years from now. Mm-hmm. It could be doing something completely different, maybe sooner than that. I guarantee you there's going to be a politician coming from the Linsky family, so maybe one of you will be a governor or something like that.
I don't know about that.
Could be, right?
Could be.
Could be. Domenic, are you ready for this one, or should I give you a minute or two?
No, I'm ready.
Okay, so the question is, what short-term losses are you willing to experience in order to reap the maximum gains?
I mean, short-term losses is almost anything, right? That's just another term for sacrificing. So when we have long-term goals, we sacrifice short-term desires.
I mean, you've done this. I mean, you were making good money as a chef. Your career, you could have continued with that.
Yeah, sure. I've done that. I mean, I've had a lot of things in my life that have changed over in the last 6 or 7 years that have been significant. They were not short-term losses. They were long-term losses. They were things that have been in my life, so long I couldn't remember my life before them, and gave them up for better, longer term things. And that's just, those are hard decisions to make. Giving up the short-term things, giving up, Clint can tell you this, giving up, eating sugar or whatever like that in order to become healthy for the long term, or working out or running, giving up watching television in order to have the time during the day to, take care of your obligations for your career and your business, but also having time to spend with your family. Like, what are those are small things that are easy to give up. So, if you would ask me if I'm willing to give up time with my family to have longer term business success, I'm going to tell you no, because I'm also going to tell you that that's not a short-term loss. That's time you never get back. Right. So,
You
small
did
things
that already. I mean, when you were working in the restaurant industry, I'm sure that took you away from your family.
Absolutely. So, but that's not a short-term thing to give those sorts of things up. So, if you were talking about just inside of a business, right? So that's something that I did when I transitioned my, my financial services practice from focusing on individual and family planning, where it was much easier to find clients, but you find clients and you do small amounts of business, versus transitioning into a particular niche that I found that worked for me, where I could do smaller amounts of business, but it's much more impactful, much bigger amounts of business. But it took me a while to transition my business like that. So that was a short-term gain that I gave up to get long-term results.
Well, I think that, you had a timeline. And so you're a networker, like, many of us on here, but I would say you're a smart networker. You leverage your time. You don't do anything you don't enjoy doing. You're not hanging out with people you don't like in order to network. True. So you've done it in an effective way. So would you say that part of it is, just maybe there is no short-term loss. Maybe it's just a matter of tweaking and becoming more experienced. Maybe you had to experience a short-term loss when you were younger, but now with experience, you know better.
Well, I mean, even with that, there are certain, short-term, just like what I was describing with the business, right? There's certain, there's certainties that you're giving up to dedicate your time to something bigger, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure we all have that where, we start off in business and we take small projects that are easier to get because it's low hanging fruit, but the bigger business that we can potentially do is built on, developing long-term relationships and building up networks to create larger streams of income that are going to come to you. But those take a lot longer to dedicate your time to, and you can't really dedicate your time to building that while you're still just picking low-hanging fruit or fruit that's fallen to the ground that's just easy to pick up. If I spent all my time writing, let's say, just to give you an example in my business, small end-of-life policies for people who are, who are seniors, I could do that. That's a way to operate in my field, but that you're constantly, you're having to do volume of 2, 3, 4 of those a day just to make the same type of income that I make writing maybe 3 large cases a year, right? And I'd rather not do that. That's not the type of business that I want to do. I feel like it's almost taking advantage of people. It's just, I don't want to, take advantage of grandma and do those sorts of policies. And the other thing is that it's not exciting. Right. To me, it's not something that I want to be part of. I want to be part of, organizations that are growing and becoming even not as an employee of the business, but a trusted professional and consultant that I'm going to be part of their growth plan. And, as they get bigger and, become the types of companies that have 10-figure exits, those are exciting clients for me to work with. And I had to give up working with easier clients with lead generation sources where I didn't have to prospect that much in order to find the clients that I actually wanted to work with. And yes, I did give up some income and I did give up easy business in order to get to this point. But now that I'm at that point, I never would have changed a thing.
Excellent point. And that's, we talk a little bit about lead generation. That's a problem, where people are doing paid for, lead gen, they're getting just internet leads, hoping to crank through a few thousand leads, to make a living, whereas they could be establishing relationships face to face.
I mean, this in the real estate business. I mean, there's people that, they don't survive unless they're buying their internet leads. They're getting on Zillow or Trulia or whatever the lead generation sources and competing with like 3 dozen other realtors to be the first one to call that prospect. That's rough. That's a rough way to do business.
Some of the, because of the position that I'm in, networking and helping people grow their business and their meaningful connections, there are lead generation people all over the country that have given me their services for free, and some of the best of the best. And the quality of the leads are just so poor. I mean, it just seems like the wrong way to be for our type of business, relationship type businesses. You really, to be successful for the client, you have to spend time with them and, create that relationship and really learn about them. And, I don't think buying leads are going to do that. You have to put in that time in order to build your business.
Yep.
Clint, what short-term losses are you willing to accept to reap for amazing future gains?
I thought about this a few ways as well. First of all, like personal wise, Domenic referenced this and I referenced it a little earlier. I'm giving up something that's not good for my body food-wise every 30 days for the next 90 days, so for the next 3 months. And so far it's been sweets and chips. And so short-term losses for long-term gains, because I'll tell you, I will be going back to eating Mexican food and chips and whatnot, because that is definitely a vice for me. Business-wise, Domenic and I were talking about this earlier on another networking call. I recently had to let go of a property management firm, and I like working with property management firms, and I just had to stop working with them because the person that runs their operations there that I dealt with was such a hindrance. And she complained about every single thing, no matter what. And I don't have the want to deal with that mentally, to take my time and effort and concentration away from other clients that will actually get some use out of it. Yeah. So yes, I'm going to be losing, a few leads, here and there, but it is well worth it for my long-term mental health. Yeah,
I mean, it's some of these things, like, you're talking about the health. I'm still intermittent fasting, by the way. And now it's been 10 months of intermittent fasting.
Awesome, dude.
I haven't lost nearly as much weight as I thought I would, because I had a friend who lost, 100 pounds in half the period of time. But I've reaped so many benefits from it. And talk about short term, it just means not eating for, when I get up in the morning before noon. And stopping eating after dinner. And keeping in mind that, when you get to a certain age and you're a man and you eat after 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock anyway, you're basically pouring fire into your body.
See, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it produces great habits. So you'll have long-term gains from those, the not eating when you're, after 8 o'clock or whatever, whenever you stop eating for 16 hours. Until then, I mean, it makes it worth it based on just the habits that you gain from that.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan, you're about 5 years away from knowing what we're talking about. There'll be a point where you're not going to want to have a burrito at 8 o'clock at night or anything.
Or at all.
Or anything.
I just stopped eating meat completely about a year ago.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, I was.
Not a chance.
I was getting in shape for a wedding that we were supposed to have, and I gave up meat as the diet, and it's been an incredible thing.
Well, you look very healthy and trim, and I'm sure it's helped a lot. The fact that we're all, if we weren't doing these things, I mean, right now being locked up, we would be suffering so badly.
So mightily.
Yeah. So I think everyone I've met has adopted something to make sure they come out on the other end, healthier than when they started, and thank God for that. So, Rena, you thought about the question.
I have.
Go ahead. What is your answer?
Well, I think back to a period in my my career trajectory. I was teaching at a university. I was in my tenure year, which, if you know academics, that's a precious year, and it means job for life if that's what you want. I quit that job and went back to school. I went to London for a year to study. I had gotten obsessed with voice and wanted to learn everything that I could about it. And I knew that it would change the course of my career forever if I did this training. And so I did the training, and then I started over as a junior professor again and worked up to tenure in the next job. So there was great short-term loss, the security of a job, the check from the job, the pay from the job, and within 2 years of that decision, my career was on a totally different trajectory than it would have been, because I got this training that put me in a different league. And then I did another transition when I left academics to form my business. I had no idea how it was going to go. I had no idea if I could succeed. I just wanted to do it and trust that the amount of effort that I put into everything is going to at some point pay off.
I mean, and that's great. And ultimately, a career, it's a career. It's not you. It really isn't. I mean, you meet people when they're 80 years of age and they've stopped and they're retired. I mean, there's a few people, you know, you're always going to remember them by their career, but others, you know, you fall into that role. Now you're grandma and your grandpa. That's your role now. I think it's just, we have a long path in front of us, and it should be engaging and enticing and challenging, and not so easy that we don't understand how hard it was to achieve it.
And all of the things that you described and all the things that I described are completely devoid of making money. That was never my motivation. If I do this, I will make more money. That's not my driver. I will do this because I will learn. I'll do this because I will grow. I'll do this because it's entertaining, it's exciting, it's fun, as opposed to.
What's pretty cool is you pay the bills and you support yourself, and you travel and you do all those great fun things that come with adulthood, because you're doing what you like and what you're good at. Katie, welcome. I'm glad you're able to make it.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you what the question is, and then I'm going to come back to you. So the question is, what short-term losses are you willing to accept to reap for amazing future gains? And that's a tough one, so I'll let you think on that a while, and I'll come back to you. Aileen, so glad to have you back. This is Arline. Is it Arline? Arline. The R is really small on my end. So Arline, you're someone who I really want to take a phone call with to learn more about what you do. It's just, we've been really, really busy, but I definitely want to speak with you. Arline is, she has a nice niche. What she does is she helps for-profit and not-for-profit businesses find sponsorship partnerships. So, if you have a large audience that you can expose someone to, and it's mutually beneficial, she's going to help you find the people that have that money that want those experiences. What a great career. Now, you must have left something else and had an idea that this was going to work for you, because you didn't know. I mean, not everybody does this. So what are your thoughts on the question about what type of short-term losses are you willing to make or you have made in order to reap enormous gains?
Okay. So on a personal level, I'm willing to give up some comfort because I've been really pushing myself to exercise. And it's not like I always want to get out there and do it, but I've gotten into the habit of it now. So I'm starting to enjoy it more. And I've always kind of gone to the gym and all, but now I'm not going. So I had to, start doing other things like jogging and swimming and so on. So another thing I've given up as far as business-wise goes, I am moving into workshops, small group workshops, where I show everyone during the workshop exactly what they need. So the very next day they can go out and start reaching out to sponsors. So what I've given up is I'm planning these workshops. I've been doing it for a while. So what I've given up is kind of my one-on-one group, my one-on-one clients, which is a lot more immediate money for me. And so I've given that up in order to work on the workshops. And then
you're probably a little pickier on who you do your one-on-ones with now.
Well, right now I'm trying to hold off from any. I will get back to it. You're right. But right now I'm just really zeroing in on doing the workshops because I can help a lot more people for the same amount of time, for less time, and they would have a really good idea of what to do, and it's the same as doing it I'm teaching them the same thing.
Is there pride in teaching them how to fish?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I guess the other thing is I've given up some of my free time on weekends because there's usually some work I need to do. And so I have given up some of my free time on weekends.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm going to make sure that we get on a call, before the end of the year.
Put your number in the chat, please, for me. Would you do that?
Sarah will drop that in there. We have all your information too.
Okay.
By the way, guys, I keep hearing me mention Sarah, and I take it for granted that everyone knows who Sarah is. Sarah Elliot is my wife. She's also the creator and founder of Rockstar Connect with me, and she is an expert in processes and systems and making sure everything runs smoothly. I mean, she starts that from scratch to finish. And, in the last few months, she started 2 new companies of her own. Well, not the last 2 months, but COVID seems interminable. Whatever we've been doing in COVID, she's started 2 new companies. Okay. And as far as I know, she might be starting a few more. I don't know. That's what she does. So thank you, Sarah, for producing this show and making sure that everyone's here. And also just the team of Rockstar Connect that reaches out to the panelists every week. That's a lot of hard work to guarantee that we have panelists for the program every week. Jennifer Williamson, she's in South Carolina. Katie, do you know Jennifer? Have you guys met in South Carolina?
Yep,
she come to your
we've
event?
worked together and we've talked several times.
Okay, great. Okay, so you guys aren't strangers to one another.
We've never met in person though.
Oh no? She came on the show today as a penguin. You never would have recognized her.
I've seen the penguin.
Okay, you have seen the penguin. Jennifer, what short-term losses are you willing to accept to reap for amazing future gains? I mean, on your end, you're investing time in education, you're spending money on technology, I would imagine.
Right, I'm willing to lose a little bit of exposure or a little bit of social media presence if it allows me to pay more attention to getting more clients, etc. Because I think that is a big pressing issue a lot of people can relate to, is getting leads. That's what I'm willing immediately off the top of my head, other than personal comfort, which I always challenge myself to do, to try to learn something new or master a new skill, etc. That's basically energy and time. But I've sacrificed so much of it. Lately, it takes an overall toll on your mental health, and overall performance, and burnout is an issue. So my next step is being able to just, okay, what's expendable at this point? I think that's pretty much it, and that's often tied to, okay, I can probably drop a needy client that's just taking too much of my time, and I can spend more energy researching another technology or working on animation or doing other things that would better us in the long term.
What about dropping some clients that aren't particularly productive for you, even though they pay, you don't feel great about it, to use that time for yourself?
Right, absolutely. I kind of manage a little bit more time for myself now. A little bit more alone time to breathe and do hobbies and just to take a break away, watch something. I think that it helps. You feel a lot more, you have more room to breathe and be able to tackle other challenges again.
More balance. I mean, for younger people, like some of the younger people on this program, you guys have it. You've been handed some bad cards over the last few years, and especially now. And you got to take care of yourself too. It's not just about. There's plenty of time left for career. Enjoy, Dylan. Enjoy your fiance. And Jennifer, enjoy South Carolina, which is absolutely incredible place for a young person to live. Katie, I think that South Carolina is run by young people like you. That's the feeling I get. Like when I go to Charleston, it's like this is a young person's town, run by young people, created by young people. Am I wrong?
It's either lots of old money and they are all in one spot, or then lots of new money and it's young new money and those people like running the town.
I mean, what an exciting, exciting place every day of the week, even, during
There's
COVID.
always something to do. Always.
Always something to do. We love Charleston. We just got the opportunity to go down to Myrtle Beach for the first time, Sarah and I had never been there. And wow, what a fun, exciting town. I mean, I love Raleigh and everything, but it has nothing on what's going on in South Carolina and the cities there. And I hear Greenville is pretty awesome too.
Greenville is amazing. Yeah. It's a really
opportunities galore.
It's a pretty town. It's really cool.
And Boeing, I think Boeing is moving down there too. Like you're getting some really big industries down there.
We've had Boeing in Charleston for a long time. It's just it's growing.
It's growing. They're moving the headquarters down there.
Yeah, they're moving the headquarters into Charleston.
So that's like getting Amazon. That's like huge. That's like one of those unicorn companies. So I think that you are absolutely positioned for this question. I think that you probably lead your life, making some very important decisions. So what short-term losses are you willing to accept to reap for amazing future gains?
Well, I think when it comes to my nonprofit, it's making sure we do things right. And so oftentimes, like when we first started in the first year, I was like, okay, I want to do this program and this and this. My board's like, whoa, slow down. We need to start slow because we've got 4 programs, not just bikes. And I wanted to launch them all immediately. And because that's, I think big, and that's good, but it's good to, then I need to surround myself with people that will pull me back and bring me down to reality. And so they were like, we need to get this right, and then we can expand. We can't do it all at once. And so I think in the short-term losses is not being able to reach out to everyone as quickly as I want to, we can't get all the kids at once. We have to go slower school by school. It's just not possible. So I think, in terms of losses, it's not being able to grow as fast as I want to because we have to do it right, and you don't want to do it sloppy. And so that takes, the right people around us. And it's just, with a nonprofit, everything is pretty slow. When people are doing things for free for you or are giving you money, getting nothing in return, they don't tend to remember to do it because it's not benefiting them in any way. So it takes 5 times longer for much to happen. So it's just being diligent and not being able to force the process quicker than it's meant to be. But really though, I'm not, in terms of like other losses, like I'm not really willing to have a loss. Like I work a bazillion hours a day because of that, And,
yeah, but you got one of those brains that's probably coming up with an idea every minute. And some of them are probably, the $1 billion idea. And
wouldn't that be?
Right. But what do you do if you have those ideas and you can't put them into motion? You have to give it to other people.
What do you mean give it to other people?
Well,
like to help?
You share that idea with other people and let them take it and make it and develop it, because if you were to pursue those things, it wouldn't allow you to create the not-for-profit that you want to have.
Right. I mean, I did start a second company. So like I am, still doing the other things that I want to do. And I have several more things that I want to do and plan to do. So there's always enough hours in the day. You just, I just have to do it.
Yeah, you can't clone yourself, unfortunately.
Right. But I also don't have the responsibilities other people have. I don't have a family at home I have to like pay attention to at night. So I can work all those extra hours to do all the things I want to do.
Right. I mean, when I started my first business, that was the calculation that I took. I said, well, I'm not married yet. I don't have any children. If I lose everything, I didn't have that much to begin with anyway.
Right. Like if I eat cereal for dinner, like no one's waiting for me to be like, what's for dinner? Like I don't have to like pick up after anybody else. It's just me. So I can, do what I want when I want. And I usually choose to spend that working on something.
So when that changes and, there's a Mr. Blomquist.
Wouldn't that be great? Does anybody know anybody?
Yeah. And when there's how do you change them? Like what would be the?
Well, the type of people I date are people that are similar to me. They're usually entrepreneurs, or they work from, like, they usually own their own business, or they work from home. And so that's the best part, is they usually are very, very flexible with their schedule. So we can make time to do what we want. Like the last guy I dated, he worked from home and was really high up in his company, so he didn't have to like ask off for a day. He just checked in from his phone. You know, we can do what we want when we want. So that makes it really easy to have a life, because you don't have to be checking in or asking permission. You can go to lunch, you can go on a trip on a Wednesday and still work take meetings on the car ride up there, and that kind of stuff.
And yeah, and if you have a gala, that can be a social event that you can enjoy together.
Yeah.
Like for Sarah and I, our networking event, that's like night out.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like, what shoes am I going to wear? What dress am I going to wear? And I'm like, I need a nap before the event. I can't be bothered. I take 30 minutes to an hour before. I try, but I always get a million phone calls during that before I do 3 martini lunch. That's just but I can. Sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
So, Norma, I want to take advantage of the fact that you're on the show today, because I know you can't always be here because you're sort of busy. This is like, you could write a book on your time as a panelist here, what all these people have shared. What are your thoughts? Are these people living their authentic life? Does it fit with the question?
Well, there's a law of attraction, Stephen, so you're only going to attract people who are living an authentic life. So yes, and they express it very well. And they're all, everybody has a similar but different angle and perspective and speaks it so well. So yeah, I think it's all your questions are great. And give us insight.
I mean, I know that you're my feeling, because we haven't known each other for years. We know each other from the panel, and we've had a couple conversations off. But you're not someone who tolerates fools. So, right?
Okay.
Right?
Well, yeah, you're right.
So if you're investing your time here, you value what these people are saying, and this is a good investment of your time. So we really appreciate you. Dylan, it was your first time on today. What are your thoughts? What did you gain from sharing your experiences with other entrepreneurs and other thinkers?
I thought it was great. Thanks for having me. It was nice to meet everyone. It shows you that although we're all doing different things in different industries, we're all somewhat similar in a lot of ways. And a lot of the things that you guys are describing might not directly impact the things that I'm doing, but in a lot of ways I can use a lot of the principles that you guys are going through and apply them to what I'm doing. So I think that's really helpful, and it's good to know that, a lot of you guys are going through learning curves and getting through things, and anything that I could pick up from your guys' experience is really beneficial to me personally. And hopefully a lot of our things that we're doing can overlap in some way, shape, or form. And it seems just like a great way to meet different people doing different things.
Well, I'm very impressed with you. You're a typical Linsky in the sense that, you guys are always open to learning, including your dad, and him and I are, are contemporaries, and he's extremely successful. He's doing something completely different later in his life. I mean, and you guys are the ones your brother brought both of you to this business.
Yeah. I mean, he found like a niche. He's younger than I am, and he found a place with student loans because he can relate to a lot of those people, and there's a lot more applications just to debt as a whole, and it's really been eye-opening to all of us.
It's really impressive because David was right out of school when I met David, and his father is an enormous producer, extremely successful gentleman, and his son said, "Look, this is what I want to do. I don't want to come work with you, Dad. I want you to come work with me."
Yeah, it's pretty much
that's pretty cool. Hey, also Rena, glad to have you back. I can't wait to see. I guess I'm going to see Clint next week at some events, and I'm going to see Domenic at some events. Ray, it's a pleasure working with your daughter and her husband and your grandson, Wager. His favorite words now are "excuse me." That's what he likes to say. Excuse me means I can interrupt you at any time. He is 3 years old. So it's great. And Jennifer, it's great
He's
to have
learning.
you. He could be an attorney.
Oh, no, I was saying he's learning.
Yeah, he is definitely
Excuse
learning.
me.
Excuse me. Domenic, do you want to have some final last words and talk a little bit more about live networking next week and what your expectations are? I know we talked about it a little bit, but maybe you can request some people to share some information, etc.
Well, I would hope that anybody who's in the Triangle area or knows anybody would come out next Thursday evening for the RTP Business Networking event. If you know somebody in the Triangle and you aren't in the area, we'd be glad to have them at the event. So like Stephen was saying earlier, we're limiting the event to 40 attendees. And we're doing that for social distancing reasons, of course. But it would be great just to reintroduce live networking, person-to-person contact back into the region, and just get people excited about going back to, not exactly how the way you used to live life, because we still have to be careful and we still have to keep our health in mind, but to understand that we can be careful and keep our health in mind while at the same time continuing on with our businesses and continuing on with the life we lead. So
that's great. That's great stuff. And I foresee that all our hosts that are our panelists will be back to live events as soon as their areas will allow them. Everyone have a great week. We're gonna end it right about now. What we usually do is we put up our hands, wave goodbye. Everyone have great networking over the next week. Success in your life and your business. Thank you. I'm Stephen David Elliott from Rockstar Connect. Check out our website, rockstarconnect.com.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
bye.
Bye, everyone.